Hello,
Hey,
everybody. Because I've been living with this disease for 45 years. Every single doctor said, nothing you can do. Make sure you got somebody to look after you and you've made enough money by the time you get into your 60s because you're going to need a full time caregiver. And I got to that point in December of 2022 where I was actually praying to die because I couldn't go to sleep. If I did, I knew I would wake up in pain. So I had a motor car accident, damaged the first top two vertebrae on my neck. And from that, I developed trigeminal neuralgia. I was 18 when I had the accident, no, 19. And immediately after the accident, I went into traction. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, I was playing in a band that had a worldwide hit. And 2 weeks into traction treatment, and I had to go on tour. And the very first night that we arrived overseas, I had my first attack because my neck was just left on where it was. So I didn't know what it was at first, but over the years it got worse and worse. And eventually, when they pulled out half of my teeth, saying, "Hey, I think there's something wrong with your teeth," or your gums or your jaws or something. They pulled them all, or not all, but a couple of my teeth out. And 2 days later, I had toothache where I had no teeth. That's when the doctor said to me, "Aha, sorry about that. You've got trigeminal neuralgia. It's a very difficult disease to diagnose, and they literally do that by a process of elimination." So once I knew that I had it, I tried every treatment there was. I used every pain pill. By December of 2022, I was on 120 pain pills a month, often 30 or 60 anti-inflammatories as well with that. And it was terrible. I had no life. I couldn't sleep properly. I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. I couldn't sit. I couldn't hold my head up. I couldn't do a thing. And Wilson phoned me up and he said, "I'm going to be in your area tonight. Let me bring you a patch." So I said, "Okay." He arrived here. I had a full on neck brace. I lived in a neck brace 24/7. I couldn't hold my head up without it. And when he arrived, he said, "Take it off." I did. He put the patch on the back of my neck. I walked to the fridge, poured each of us a glass of Coca Cola, sat back down, and my pain was gone for the first time in 45 years. So one patch wonder in 5 minutes, wasn't even 5 minutes. And that, of course, was the beginning of my journey with the patches. Got one on now. There you go, my Aeon. And so I was on the patches for 7 months. They talk about the protocol of doing a minimum of 3 months. I can tell you now, if you're older, you've got to do a minimum protocol of 1 month for every decade that you've lived. I'm 67 now. I was 65 then. And as I hit my seventh month on the patches, I cleared totally and I had no more attacks at all. Nothing, nothing at all. Since then, I've had the start of an attack, I think maybe 3 times, stuck a patch on, and it's immediately gone. So that wasn't the only thing wrong with my body, I'm sure. As a musician, I lived a very unhealthy life. I never drank water until I started wearing patches, and I did that. So 7 months, I went through 3 months of those, was a terrible detox. I felt like I was dying again. But thank goodness I had support, and that's where the community comes in. And my friends came, spent weeks with me at a time, taking care of me while I went through that, looking after me. And finally, I came right. So that's my story, very quickly in a nutshell. I'm now getting back to my normal life. One of the most difficult things for me once I was healed was actually getting back to a normal life because for 45 years I was I was ill, I was sick, I was in pain. But now, thanks to Lightwave and Wilson, I'm back to my normal self. And that's my testimony. Thank you, everybody.